Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Very much the precursor to circuits like Monticello, Thermal, and Autobahn here in the United States. In the late 1980s, a Japanese golf magnate wondered if the country club model, which has been the backbone of the golfing industry for so many years, could be applied to motorsport venues. By offering a playground for the wealthy to enjoy their high-performance cars, could he create a successful business? So by selling off many of his golf courses and offering a lifetime membership for 15 million yen, that's the equivalent of about $120,000 back then, ground was broken for what was then known as the TI, that's for Tanaka International, Circuit Ada, and its garages, clubhouse, and hotel. Featuring sweeping S-bends, tight hairpins, and a good amount of elevation change, the 11-turn, 2.3-mile circuit was well suited to the 350 members on the books when the facility opened back in November of 1990. A host of veteran British drivers were invited to take part in the initial race on the course for the benefit of those members, after whom the majority of the corners that you'll see here tonight are named. The fast sweepers became the Moss S after Sterling Moss, while others honored Jonathan Williams, my favorite, David Hobbs, Dickie Atwood, David Piper, Brian Redman, who I'm going to get to see in a couple weeks here at Summit Point Raceway, and Mike Knight. Having hosted the Formula One Pacific Grand Prix in its early years, the circuit that is now named after its home in the Okayama Prefecture, approximately 200 miles southwest of Tokyo, now plays home to Super GT, SRO Asia, and for those of you that are big iRacing fans, Super Formula Lights. Welcome everybody to Okayama International Circuit for round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Proforma Elite here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsberg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod, as always, for tonight's 2 30-minute battles, and thankfully we've got Jonathan Grabowski, the production truck, keeping us sane, and he's going to be bringing you all of the best camera angles and action that Apex Racing TV is known for. And so good evening, Larry, and welcome to the circuit that our MX-5 and GR86 drivers should probably know pretty darn well, as it's been a staple in iRacing, and if they want to get out of the rookie class, they have to go through Okayama. But oddly enough, the TCC hasn't been here in over 10 seasons.
Yeah, it has been a while since we've called a race in this location, but you know, it's the new scan in iRacing, and that's always pretty cool. All the graphics look a lot better. But I tell you what, due to some fun timing things are jumping ahead quickly tonight. So real quick, we are going to be 2 sprint races, 30 minutes each tonight. The first one's going to grid up at about 30 seconds as qualifying's coming to a very quick end. So real quick on that, you've got at the top Matt Porter in the top of the Club Sport qualifying right now with Andrew Sharp, Eric Violet on 2 and 3, Klimovich, Maxwell Jenkins leading in the AM, Hartley, Chase Thorman in the ST Pro, and those Miatas and Harris, Daniel, and Brist tonight in the AM. But yeah, I don't think we have a lot of time to get to. We'll probably do our track guide here shortly, but I think we're going to probably have to go right into qualifying in just a minute.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, go into our very first race of the night. I wanted to bring in Mariano Barrios from Friendly Neighborhood Racing. He's been sitting patiently in the room for us here in the green room, but I don't know if we're going to have time to bring him in.
We've got time. It just went. It looks like Grid is about to queue up.
Exactly. So he is heading to Grid. Hopefully, we'll get him on board here on the broadcast a little bit later this evening. As indeed, Larry, as you mentioned, we've got our drivers starting to grid up, and we are going to have our Club Sport drivers. The Club Sport, those are the GR86 cars. They will start at the front of the field. You can see them lining up behind the safety car, and then we will have our Street Tuner drivers, the Mazda MX-5 drivers. They will take the start for tonight's race about 10 seconds behind. So let's run down the starting order. You did a pretty good job of laying it out up front. Our pole sitter tonight is going to be the number 19 of Matt Porter. He was one of our fastest drivers in practice this week. Andrew Sharp from Vermilion will start on the outside of row number 1. Then we've got D2D's Eric Violet and Brandon Whitworth making up row number 2. Then we've got Tom Rathke from Granite State Racing and Jeff Jacobs from the SCCA Foundation starting in 6th. Then we've got one of the Dragotas. This is Leo Dragota for Orion Racing. He's going to start 7th with Mariano Barrios starting in 8th for Friendly Neighborhood Racing, and then Bobby Childs from D2D. Those are our Club Sport Pro drivers. If we now will take a look at our Club Sport AM drivers, as you mentioned, David Klimovich, the Klim Club, here with us once again here tonight. Larry, oh yay. Dale Maxwell from Black Flag. He is going to be starting starting 2nd in that class. Then we've got Tom Jenkins. Then we've got Rodney Carey and Paul Carey rounding out our Club Sport field.
All right, real quick before these Toyotas go green on the pole tonight in the MX-5s in the ST class, Rob Hartley alongside him with Mike Chase, Chris Thorman, Travis Schwenke on the next row, Victor Harris, the fastest of the AMs, he'll be in the 3rd row with David Payton, Jeff Cranston, Steve Daniel behind them, Steve Daniel in the AM, Brennan Horan, and Robert Brist making up the last row of a fairly small MX-5 class. It looks like our Toyotas are going to be going green.
All right, and our real life starter getting ready to give the command to start. They're in the starting zone here. And there we go. Green flag, Larry, is now in the air, and we are racing here at Okayama as our Club Sport racers making the first run down to the first corner, appropriately enough named, with Matt Porter, Andrew Sharp in the lead with Violet, Brandon Whitworth. Not many changes there as they come down into the left and right hand turns. We've got the left of Williams, and then we've got those Moss S's before they get to the right, I'll call it a hairpin, big right uphill Atwood curve. And we'll get to our track guide with Kevin Ford in just a few moments as our MX-5 racers now take the green flag. Robert Hartley on the pole there. He comes across the nose of Chris Thorman, and then right in front of Mike Chase, who started in 3rd position as they come into the first corner here as well from Okayama. Oh, and going around is Chris Thorman. who was our fastest Mazda in practice this week. He has some issues with those tires, and he now falls to the very rear of the pack.
Oh, yeah, that's a big spin. Doesn't look like he may have hit anything, but he's going to lose a lot of time here in these sprint formats. Only 30 minutes, and then we'll regrid. So he's got to work his way back up in just a few minutes. But these Toyotas already single file down the road here. The Canadian Matt Porter at the front of that field. Angel Sharp, Eric Violette in behind. But look at some of this moving position right there. That's Tom Ravke and Jeff Jacobs fighting for position as they go through these back-to-back hairpin 180s.
Got it. And we see here as we've got our entire field now clear. Great little battle there going on between Jeff Jacobs and, or probably not Jeff Jacobs, Steve Daniel and Brennan Horn right beside him in the Mazdas. But we just saw Jeff Jacobs and Leo Dragota battling it out for position for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Tom Ravke in there as well, as we have another driver that has gone off, and I believe that's Victor Harris.
Yeah, that is Victor Harris there. Somewhere around that turn 7 complex. It looks like he may have gone off there, and there's Chris Thorman coming up behind him now, trying to get one of those positions back.
Yeah, and not very far in the order, at least in class, for Victor Harris to fall, as we only have, I believe, Larry, tonight, 3 different racers in the Street Tuner AM category. Quickly, as we're watching the action take place here, you will notice that we have the timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen, color keyed to the different classes. They match up with how the cars are painted on track. Our Club Sport Pro drivers, the Club Sport being the Toyota GR86s, the Pro drivers have black mirrors and number boards and end plates on their wings and windshield banners. The Club Sport AM drivers have orange number boards on their cars. And matter of fact, if we take a look back, and I believe the 5th driver in line, that is the number 21 of Klimovich. He is our first AM driver. You can see that kind of green and gray car with the orange mirrors on it. In Street Tuner, which are the Mazda MX-5s, the Pro drivers have red mirrors and number boards, and in AM, a little bit further back, they've got green. And as we're looking at the our Street Tuner drivers, the 5th car in line is Steve Daniel from SDK Racing. He's got green on the mirrors. That's how we pick them out from the pros. All right, so here as we are now working, I believe, Larry, lap number 3. We've got 2 laps in the books already. The drivers turning in times at the front of the field in the 143s, the low 43s for the Toyotas. And much higher at the moment. We're seeing in the 2.5 range, I think, for the Mazdas, which is, I find a little surprising right now. Looks like both of these classes have really started to string out a little bit here.
Yeah, just a little bit, but this pack right here that we've been watching at the front of the Toyotas, very, very close between those 3 right now. At least between the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, between Sharp, Violet, Whitworth, very tight between them, as Porter's been able to stretch out about a 1.5 seconds over the others right now. And I tell you, this place is tough to pass. You pretty much have to get them going down into 1, because the rest of this place, the track isn't very wide. It's relatively narrow, a lot of short little chutes between each of these corners, makes it really tough to pass. The other option is dive bombs into the 180s here, coming up into turns, I think this is 8 and 9. These are some of the other places. If you really try to undercut somebody, maybe you can get in there, but you might be causing an accident if you do. It's a real tough place to pass. We'll see how patient these Toyota drivers are here tonight.
Yeah, and obviously the Mazdas had started quite a bit further back than the Toyotas. What we saw during practice during the week, Larry, is that, and we've seen this at almost every venue, the Mazdas can get a real good pull off the back of the Toyotas. And to the point where during testing, we were seeing a lot of passes made on the front straight, Mazdas passing the Toyotas. But once the Toyotas ended up behind the Mazdas, there wasn't much of an effect from the draft. They would actually fall back a little bit in a straight line. That's kind of why I was a little surprised that our Mazdas were running the times that they were. We're now down to where they're running within about 2 seconds a lap of what the Toyotas are running. All right, good move there. That is Leo Dragota making a pass on Jeff Jacobs. That is going to move him now up into 6th in street, Club Sport Pro, and it's going to move Jeff back to 7th. Although Leo right now 7th overall, Jeff 8th overall, because we've got David Klimovich. He's right in the middle of that entire pro field currently.
Real quick, we got the camera there on Hartley doing a drive-through. So he's serving a drive-through penalty for a start violation. Remember, he started on the front row. I think he was even on pole tonight. And now he's got a violation for a start procedure, and that's going to move him pretty far back there in the ST class. Basically puts him right at the back of the continuous field. He's been able to get around Jeff Cranston, but he's about... we'll call it about 40 seconds or so off of the class leaders.
We're watching right now Mariano Barrios from Friendly Neighborhood Racing. He was our Club Sport Pro winner in round number 1 at Mugello, and looks like he's having a little trouble there at the curbing on the exit of the final corner, probably the last corner, which is the actual name. Gathers it back up, but he finds himself right now, Larry, mired back in 9th position in pro. Looked like he had Dale Maxwell, who's the AM driver, just ahead of him in his sights, but again, lost a lot of momentum with that off on the final turn.
Yeah, you definitely do. That's one of the longest, the second longest straightaway really on the track, but one of the more critical ones. So yeah, you catch a little bit of dirt on that outside, and you're going to find yourself losing quite a bit of momentum. This is the entrance to the other of the long straightaways, that long back straight. You can see already trying to break the draft out there in front of this pack.
Yeah, as they make that run all the way down to the hairpin at turn number 5. Tom Rathke looking to the inside of Klimovich right now to move up into 5th in Club Sport. Gets the move done. Nice move there by Tom Rathke. Klimovich still leads in AM with Leo Dragota very close behind there as well. As looks like Dragota's gotten back around Jeff Jacobs here.
Pretty good battle. Great view here from the onboard of Klimovich, just behind Rathke there, and that nice little train. How closely they're racing. Coming around these turn 10 into turn 11, the last corner, as you've noted. You watch them just got to carry all the momentum right to the edge of that gravel trap. That's the fast way around, but now they try to get a little bit of a draft. So Dragota's got to run. Grab that spot, but yeah, you can see how tough it is to make these passes. You got to really get all the way in and get a great run off prior corners to be able to get that pass done. Now let's see what he can do. As Dragota behind Rathke going through the Atwood curve down there, turn 4.
Rathke lost the rear end a little bit there.
Very different line.
Out of there.
This definitely is the longest straightaway. We'll see if this is a good braking zone going into 5 for Dragota. Can he get there? He's going to pop. A little bit defensive for Rathke. Good line to hold that position into the hairpin.
And just such a subtle move to the inside there was all it took to wave Dragota off there. Nice move. Oh, as Klimovich has a little trouble on exit. That is coming out of turn 6. You've got these two very quick, as you come out of the hairpin, two very quick left-handers over at Revolver, which is turn 6, and then over at Piper, which is turn number 7, and it really impacted Klimovich there. And Barrios is going to try and take advantage, but now he's stuck to the outside as they start to come through the final 2 right-hand corners.
Yeah, Bobby was able to get on through there, but now it's, as you said, Barrios now trying to stay in front of Klimovich. But I can tell you that turn 6 where he had the issue, I hate that corner. I've driven this track a lot, old scan and new. I hate that corner because there's a series of bumps there. You've got the cross track for the other configuration. You have to drive across right as you're exiting, and it creates these nasty bumps, and you lose it just like we saw in Klimovich.
All right, we move back over to Club Sport, probably to Street Tuner, which is our Mazda MX-5s. And sitting up at the front of the field right now is Mike Chase in that green and white number 314 machine. And he's got Larry almost a little bit less than a second and a half right now on our second place runner. That is Travis Schwenke from Orion. And Chase may have managed to break the draft there.
Yeah, may have. Now he's just a little over a second over Schwenke, so we'll see what he can do with that. They're out there working the start of lap 10, I believe.
Yeah, as we're getting into lap 10, and again, these are going to be 30-minute timed races, so we're a little bit over a third through this race. But you know, that gap that as we're going to jump back to the Toyotas here, that gap that both Chase and Schwenke have built up now over Brennan Horn, I think is somewhere along the lines of what, a couple seconds, almost like 9 seconds, I think, 8 seconds.
Well, this is interesting though. As we watch the front of the field here in the Club Sport Pros, Porter's lead over Sharp and Violet has come down a little bit. He was about a second and a half up. You can see there now about 6/10 to Sharp, and then Violet just about a half a second back from there. I think Violet's been patient. I think he knew this was a possibility. He's patient, and you see up front Porter now weaving the straightaways to do what he can to break that draft, not give any consistency to Sharp behind him, but Sharp's being smart, cutting the corners, cutting the distance in that draft break, and just trying to use whatever he can. And Violet just sitting back, waiting, as we're now about a little more than a third, almost at the halfway point. Again, 2 30-minute sprints here tonight with an inversion of the top 5 coming for them in the second race, but this first race is going to be hotly contested to Porter, Sharp, and Violet at the front, now about 2 seconds back further to Whitworth.
Yeah, and interestingly, Whitworth just set fastest lap, only 200ths of a second faster than his teammate Violet. Violet, our fastest driver in practice during the week, and time's not all that far off from what they're running right now. He ran a 42.8 in practice, and we're already seeing both he and Whitworth down into the high 42.7s. Yeah,
Whitworth would love to have the front 3 right now start battling and start moving around each other, giving him an opportunity. But speaking of moving around, that would be Barrios going underneath Bobby Childs. Bobby there in the 88. Get a good camera shot of him from the D2D team. He's going to give that position up. Barrios now is trying to take down Jeff Jacobs in front of him. Rathke's gotten away a little bit.
Started to open things up just a bit.
He's catching up with Dragoda up there.
Yeah, and now he's about a half second back from Dragoda, running in 5th position. But again, it's kind of the haves and have-nots here. We see this second pack here with Dragoda, Rathke, Jacobs, Barrios, and Bobby Childs, and our top 3 are. Well, they're a long way up the road now, about 5 seconds. About 5 seconds now up the road.
Pretty good little battle, though. I think Rathke showing some strength here at this track. Hadn't heard from him much in recent weeks, but the young Dragoda there now battling through. He's been able to get by these guys, but now he finds I don't think he can get away. Somebody's off in the background there. I don't know if that was Bobby Childs, perhaps?
Bobby Childs.
Yeah, a little bit off there back at the exit of turn 2. Let's catch a quick replay of that as he comes around 1. Nice and smooth by himself, sets over to track right to make this left, and you got to get on the gas early. He does, but it washes all the way to the gravel trap. Little drift, no harm.
Yeah, and Larry, we saw there is he came very far to the inside of the apex curbing there with the driver's wheels off, and it looks like he may have actually just turned in a little bit early there, and then got that terminal push on exit. As Barrios, great move there, gets around Jeff Jacobs now, so move Barrios up to 7th in the Toyota's 7th and Pro.
Yeah, Barrios trying to do what Dragoda's been doing and make it through some of this field here. But now he's got himself about a second or so behind Rathke and Dragoda. So Barrios got a little bit of work to do to catch up. What did we say, top 5 inverts for the second race?
Top 5 in Club Sport, top 5 in Street Tuner.
Yeah, right now the 5th. Yeah, right now as you can see, the 5th spot in Club Sport is Dragoda, as all of the top 5 in the Pro are ahead of all the AMs. And so that spot becomes hot between Dragoda, Rathke, and now Barrios.
All right, and Larry, here's the fight now for Club Sport AM with the Klim Club. They're under attack right now by Dale Maxwell. Klimovich, who started off right in the middle of our pro field, he has now dropped 4 positions down to 10th overall, and now has Dale Maxwell beating on the beating the drum, beating on the back bumper there, trying to find a way around. And I'm sure Bobby Childs, with his little incident there a lap ago, probably closed that down a little bit, as Rathke had to avoid. All right, let's jump back now. Good little this fight once again. This is the battle right now between we've got the Orion car. That is who is that? Is that
Porter?
That's Porter, our leader.
Yep. That lead
Andrew
continues
Sharp
to shrink.
Yeah.
Great job by Sharp and by Violet to be patient and continue to climb back into this thing, as we're coming up to nearly the 17-minute mark now. So we're past the halfway point. Now these guys are tighten up. We could see this come down to a bit of a photo finish for the last couple of laps, but these guys now tightening up in the front 3.
Yeah, and of course Porter was our winner 2 weeks ago when we were at Phillip Island, when we were down in Australia, looking for his 2nd win in a row here, to be able to take rounds 4 and 5. Of course, we've got two different races tonight, as we mentioned. Each race counts for half points to make up the entire round. And Porter currently, even with that win, sitting 8th in the standings. I think that's because I believe he missed round 1.
That's correct. Yeah, round 1, then he was a 5th and 7th place at Zandvoort and Interlagos. So got on track 2 weeks ago. This would definitely help his cause here to continue to go. Right now, the overall points leader is Violet sitting in 3rd, as you can see there, and Andrew Sharp currently 2nd in the points, and you can see him right there as well. So it is going to be pretty tightly contested throughout the season, and I think Porter right now needs these points probably more than the other guys do.
Yeah.
Barrios actually sitting in 3rd in points. We talked about him. He's currently back there in 8th.
All right, let's take a look here. Wow, and look at Porter moving all the way into the inside there to defend as they go into the hairpin over at turn 5, Larry. Wow, yeah. Went very deep there.
Yep. Oh, let's check this other battle going on. This should be the Rathke, Jagoda, Jacobs, Rathke in the white car there, of course. And then you can see, there you see Leo Jagoda there in the Orion car, currently 2nd in this train. Jacobs, Barrios, very tight grouping right now here for this 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th positions. Rathke looking very quick tonight. Getting that spot back he lost earlier to Jagoda. Maybe Leo a little bit inconsistent in this car. It's not his usual favorite Porsche that he runs whenever we're in the GT3s. He seems to love that car. It's a little bit different, but it's got decent pace. The draft may have helped a little bit for Rathke, as it seems to be doing well for Jacobs and for Barrios behind. And then even back from there, of course, you got Childs, Maxwell, and Maxwell and Klimovich being the 2 leaders in AM. They're following Bobby Childs in a train a couple seconds back from this foursome. How smooth this car really pays off to be smooth. Whereas the Miata, you got to slide. These things, you kind of have to tip it up on its rails and hold it there just gently enough. And
given how this transfers weight so quickly from side to side, smoothness pays off with this car. And Larry, noticing that the group behind, with Bobby Childs, Maxwell, and Klimovich, they are starting to close things up a little bit to this group ahead.
You can see right there, it looks like Barrios has a bit of a run on Jacobs coming off at that turn 4 as he comes up to the hairpin. He's on the inside. He'd love to take this spot and force Jacobs go around. It's a bit of a banking on this corner. You can hold it outside line. If you can stay there, you get the inside for the next ones. And look at that. Jacobs does exactly that. He holds the inside. Can he stay there, though, through 7? He might, but you can see how quickly they're fading back, and there's contact.
Contact.
Lots of contact. And that's going to bring Bobby Childs along. Here comes Bobby.
Yeah, and they just, Larry, they could not get separated at all as they managed to thankfully keep it off the wall. Let's take a quick quick look at a replay, and then we'll see how that next group is doing if they're closing things down.
This is great. All the way from the hairpin. Look how Jacobs holds that outside line, forces Barrios down the inside. Jacobs stays there. Now he's on the inside for the next 2 corners. Gets a good line here, leaves a little room out, the little bubble slows him down. And as he goes to the second one from the inside line, he's slow. Barrios sees an opportunity, but look at Jacobs already sliding the car.
He already had the rear end stepping out on him there, Larry.
Yeah, and that definitely cost him and may have caused that contact as he cuts right in front of Barrios' line. But both of them keep going again, and I don't see too much damage between them. Oh, who's in the pits?
That's is
Dragotta. Oh, no.
And I haven't heard anything come over the radio as far as a penalty, Larry. But he came down and he pitted. He may just not have put in enough fuel to get to the end of this, and it's only a 30-minute race.
Yeah, what if he had a qualifying fuel load in and just forgot to fill it up? That's unfortunate for him, as he was sitting in that 4th, 5th spot, nearly to that pole spot for the second race. Well, that's going to cancel that out altogether right now for him. But out in the front, these guys want to win this race for the glory of starting the next race in 5th, but they don't think about that right now. Right now, this is Porter, Sharp, and Violet in the same order they've been in since green flag dropped.
All right, and they're starting to come up on the back of our Mazdas on our street tuners, and I think that's Brist, possibly either Brist or Victor Harris.
Yeah, I think it's Brist. Robert being nice, letting the leaders in this really tight race on by. Waiting to see if Sharp can get a really good run off of this corner. And if Porter has any bit of a bobble, I think that's going to be an opportunity for Sharp. That's right now the game he's playing for Sharp. Just wait until Porter makes a little mistake.
Yeah, and you can see Porter there with the bob and weave. You know,
Porter's all over the place trying to break that draft.
Yeah.
You know, all kinds of weaving and anything he can do to break that draft. Sharp being smart, in my opinion. Hold your line, try to stay in the draft, but don't weave too much or just scrub speed. And I think he's doing a good job. In fact, he forced Porter to think about going defensive into turn 1. Oh, and now Porter's going to go defensive here into 4. Let's see if this
all the way down to the inside.
The outside line's fast here. Don't think you have to go tight and tidy. You can run the outside.
And he's able to pull up right to the quarter panel, and now fully alongside Larry as they're going to make the run down to 5.
3 wide coming. Here it comes. Can Violet take the inside?
Now remember,
he's going to push. Violet wants to push.
This hairpin goes to the right, so we've got Porter on the inside. He's got the shorter distance as they then have the 2 left-hand corners.
Oh, contact.
And a little bit of contact there, but move Andrew Sharp now into the lead.
Yeah, beautiful moves there, forcing Porter to go defensive in a couple of spots. Sharp able to take advantage, went that outside line down that back straight, and able to hold that through. Then the hairpin at 5 into 6 and take that position. I was really surprised that Violet decided to just push Porter from behind to try and hold position instead of maybe taking the inside for a 3 wide. But, you know, really, I guess at this point, Violet's showing a lot of patience now with just about 6 minutes to go in this thing before we start seeing checker.
Well, you know, he's sitting 3rd, Larry. That's where he'd start. That's where he'd start the next race. He'd start ahead of these 2. He'd be in at least a little bit better position coming up for race number 2 as we've got now a little bit more than 5 minutes remaining.
But yeah, at a minute 42, minute 43 a lap, he's running out of laps very quickly. We're talking maybe 3 laps left here in this next 5 minutes. That's going to be very difficult for him to make up 2 spots. So he's got to watch. And it looks like Sharp has some really good pace out in front. Just flying already here on this first lap in the lead.
Yeah, but, you know, I'm thinking, Larry, because as difficult as it has been throughout the season, and it seems maybe a little bit less so here at Okayama, maybe Violet, you know, even though he'd have to take 3rd place points here in this first race, he might be in the catbird seat for race number 2 starting in 3rd, because the 2 drivers that start ahead of him don't have nearly the pace. Whitworth and Rafke. Whitworth right now is running 3-4 seconds behind, and here we go, coming down.
Porter trying to turn the tables, do the same thing that he just had done to him. Let's see if he can hold the inside into 6.
And Porter, wow, and Sharp just left the door open for Porter there, gave him a lot of track room, a lot of open up those that first left-hander and the second one as well. And here comes Violet down the inside.
Yep, he's going to try to take the inside on Sharp, going here into these hairpins into 8, and he may have it. That's a great move for Violet's exactly what he needs, but now he left that door open for Sharp to get it back.
Yeah, what we've seen is that at the last couple of corners, the drivers aren't opening up their hands to take away the exit and take away the line into the next corner. And so Violet had a great move into the hairpin there, but he finds himself once again in third position as we've got now 4 minutes remaining, and Larry at minute 44 per lap, so we've got probably this lap and 2 more.
Yeah, probably. And I tell you what, that was a lot of work for Sharp and Violet to be right back where they were 2 laps ago. I really thought perhaps Sharp was going to hold that lap, but as you said, he just couldn't quite chop the nose off in front of Violet as they came off at 8 and 9. And if anything, they may have slowed them down because they ended up side by side through those hairpins, and it gave Porter a little bit of breathing room that I suspect is going to go away here pretty quickly. As if I know Violet, he's going to actually probably push Sharp if he gets the opportunity.
So I don't think it's going to be enough as our top 3 start challenging one another for the lead, Larry. But Brandon Whitworth, he made a lot of time on that last lap, made up almost a full second on our leaders. And, you know, that might be helpful to Eric Violet if he gets his teammate here engaged as well.
I don't know about that. A lot of these, especially on these teams, don't really have team orders too often. So if Whitworth gets up there, it just might be gloves off. He may be looking to try and get around that teammate. So Violet might want just to try and get the second place here on this lap or the next, with a chance to take the lead on the final lap. This is going to be really close. But first, they got to get close. They're still, as you can see, about 3 car lengths back from Porter here as we go around 9 into 10 and 11.
All right, so Larry, just heard a reminder from race control to our drivers that they are only allowed to make 1 move here in order to hold off a pass, and should not be weaving and swerving onto the front straight. As our 3 leaders now come onto the front straight, you'll notice that the behavior is a little bit different from Matt Porter. He's not there trying to break the draft this time.
I honestly, what I saw in the last time I didn't see anything.
I agree.
I think what I saw was draft breaking, and any time that Sharp got close, he just took 1 defensive position. So I'm wondering if that steward's reminder was actually for another battle out in the track.
It's possible. There was mention about the weaving on the front straight, but indeed, you know, we see, and here we go, popping to the inside and going very deep down the inside as Violet, and he's just not quite close enough, Larry, to make it work.
Yeah, Sharp really deep on the brakes to hold that position. May have hurt his exit speed a little bit, as you can see Porter now not really under threat this time down the back straight. But as we know on that clock, we are definitely going to be seeing a white flag the next time they come across. So we're only going to get 1 more chance down this back straight after this, and this seems to be the best place to get overtakes done. So right now, if you're Sharp, it's time to set this up. Oh, he's going to stuff it to the inside. Ooh. Not this time.
And Porter comes right across the nose of Andrew Sharp with mere millimeters to spare there. That could have gone to tears for both of those drivers very, very quickly, and open up the door for Eric Violet, who's now taking a look on Andrew Sharp.
Yeah, he's getting aggressive back there, Violet. He knows it's hard to pass 1, let alone 2. He's got to dispatch a Sharp as soon as he can, but Sharp's doing a great job right now, trying to shove in, trying to get the nose in there. The problem is he lost his chance, really. He lost all his momentum, and now he's got to work the front straight just to get on the tail. Maybe he can then on the back straight make the pass on Porter, but right now he's got to get closer. But the problem is Violet's actually closer to Sharp than Sharp is to Porter.
To Porter, exactly. And Porter dropped wheels coming out of the final corner there. Might have slowed his run down the front straight a little bit, but as we see there, as they go into the first corner, Andrew Sharp now only able to get within about a half a car length. And yeah, I think you're right, Larry. Violet has got, I think, a better chance of picking up a position right now than Andrew Sharp does.
Yeah, remember last time Violet sort of flashed to the inside at this next braking zone. I don't suspect he'll do that here. I think he wants a better run of the back straight. I don't think he'll force the issue going into 4. Yeah, look at that great exit.
Exactly. I would be waiting as they come out here out of Outwood, and they've got this very long back straight now, running down the hill first and then coming back up again as they go to the hairpin at turn number 5. And let's see who goes to the inside. And I'll tell you, if Porter sticks the car and keeps the car all the way to the inside, he may really affect his exit speed coming out of there as Violet goes deep as well.
Great move for Violet. He sort of looked like he was going to stay behind Sharp. Instead, he flashes around, gets that position. Beautiful move for him. He's out of corners, perhaps, to try to make a move on Porter, but he definitely was able to get past Sharp. Now let's see if Sharp can counterattack. This is white flag lap, so we've only got a couple of more corners here before we hand out half points tonight. Sharp looking for any way past Violet. Violet's going to use the track. It's going to be tough to make a move now without a mistake from one of these drivers.
All right, here we go. We got two more corners remaining coming out of turn number 10, out of the Mike Knight corner and into the last corner. It's Matt Porter, it's Eric Violet, it's Andrew Sharp, and as they come to the line, that's how things will end here in Club Sport Pro. Now coming down our second group here, it's going to be Brandon Whitworth finishing just off the podium in race 1, Tom Rathke 5th, Mariano Barrios and Jeff Jacobs. Dale Maxwell will take the win here in AM. David Klimovich, a distant second in Club Sport AM. Tom Jenkins he's the third person in the class. Yep. He'll finish in third. Let's jump back. Let's jump back over to Street Tuner, where we're watching right now Mike Chase in the number 314 machine. And Larry, he is all by his lonesome here. Travis Schwenke nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Chase having a fantastic race here. His troubles all around for everyone else. We saw Hartley have to take the penalty. He's out of this thing. Schwenke's 8 seconds back, and looks like our man Chase is going to win round 1 here tonight.
Great run there, and should be coming out onto the front straight now to come across the line. There he is, finishing second here in Club Sport Pro is going to be Travis Schwenke with his teammate Robert Hartley finishing in third. Chris Thorman will finish just off the podium in fourth, with Brendan Horan in the blue D2D car finishing in fifth. And so he is going to start, Larry, because we've got our 5-position invert in in Street Tuner. Brendan Horan's going to start on the front row with Chris Thorman.
Yeah, all D2D front row there in the Miata for the second race, but maybe we'll get a little bit more camera time to those guys the second race. But that battle in the Club Sports was so good, couldn't really peel ourselves away from it. A couple of great wins there, but we're only halfway done.
All right, so let's do this, Larry. Let's take a quick break. Thank some of our partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll try and fit in the track guide of Okayama, perhaps, and we'll get everything ready to go for our second 30-minute race of the night here at round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup, live from Okayama. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to the Okayama International Circuit for round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Proforma Elite here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And John, let's take a look if we can finish up, or probably if we can post up the finishing order from our first race. There we go. We'll start off with Club Sport. Our Toyota GR86 is taking the win in Pro. Matt Porter from Orion, with Eric Violette finishing second for D2D eRacing. And then we've got Andrew Sharp from Vermilion rounding out the top 3. Then we've got Brandon Whitworth finishing in 4th and Tom Rathke 5th. That is important because we're going to be doing a five position invert in Club Sport, and that is going to put Tom Rathke and Brandon Whitworth on the front row for our second race of the evening. If we move over to Club Sport AM, Dale Maxwell took the win, with David Klimovich finishing in 2nd, and then finishing in 3rd was Tom Jenkins. If we move over then to Street Tuner, taking the win in Street Tuner Pro for Chase Motorsports, Mike Chase with Travis Schwenke from Orion finishing 2nd, and Robert Hartley, even having to take that drive-through penalty, works his way back up into 3rd, with Chris Thorman and Brennan Horn finishing 4th and 5th. That means the 2 D2D sim racing drivers will start on the front row for Street Tuner in race number 2. Taking the win in in Street Tuner AM, Steve Daniel from SKKJ Racing, with Victor Harris 2nd, and Robert Brist finishing in 3rd.
Yeah, this is moving quickly. This is only about 10 seconds left in the warm-up for our second round of races tonight. I do think they're going to take a minute to grid things. I'm not sure they automatically had the 5-car invert.
No, they're going to have to do that setup manually, Larry, as far as I know, because since they're doing the invert for both of the classes. So
should be pretty quick, though.
Yeah, it should be. So let's do this before we get ready to run down the grid. Let's quickly take a look at the point standings coming into this round. This is after 4 rounds out of 7 this season. We'll start off with Club Sport Pro. We'll start off with Club Sport Pro, which is, again, our GR86s, currently sitting, before tonight's round, sitting at the top of the leaderboard with a 6-point advantage over the rest of the field. Eric Violette from D2D Sim Racing, Andrew Sharp sitting 2nd, and then Mariano Barrios, as I think you mentioned a little bit earlier, sitting 3rd in the points, with Brandon Whitworth in 4th. If we take a look at Club Sport AM,
this, of course, is before the first round tonight. So this is still only after the rounds coming into the evening.
Yeah. You think I'm bad with math normally. If I had to then also figure out and divide the points in half. Tom Jenkins is your current Club Sport AM leader with 177 points, a 1-point advantage over Paul Carey, and only a single point back from there is Rodney Carey, the 2 Carey Racing drivers with the Klim Club. Probably ruining the fact that he is 31 points out of, David Klimovich is 31 points out of the championship right now, with Russ running 5th. Let's quickly, before the pace lap here starts, move over to Street Tuner, to our Mazda MX-5s, where in Pro, currently, or before coming into tonight, your points leader, Mike Dam, with 251 points, a 5-point advantage over his Orion Racing teammate Robert Hartley. Travis Schwenke, also from Orion, 13 points back from there. 3rd in the championship, with Jeff Cranston and Chris Thorman rounding out your top 5. And in AM, it gets much easier, Larry, to run down the order in AM because, well, we've only got 3 drivers with points. It's Steve sitting at the top of the order right now. It is Steve Daniel. He's got a 48-point advantage over Victor Harris, and Robert Brist sitting 3rd in the championship. And Andrew Wilson, unfortunately, well, he showed up one night. He just decided not to race. I guess he didn't like the odds.
Well, I will say, I'll give a little bit of a shout out to the Klim Club tonight and David Klimovich. You mentioned he's about 30 points back, but he didn't run round 1 at Mugello.
That's right.
He has 2 wins and a second coming into the 3 last rounds. He's got strong finishes. His 30 points back, you think about it, if it's 177, 176, 175 in front of him, he's sitting at 146. As soon as we get into the area of drops, suddenly we have a four-way virtual tie between Jenkins, Carey, and Klimovich. This is an exciting class to watch. I really want to pay attention. So we didn't give them much love here in the first round of the night tonight. Let's keep an eye on those AMs tonight and see how well Klimovich can do stacked up with the Carey brothers and with Jenkins. As they continue to regrid and get ourselves ready here to roll out. They're just about there. I think they've got the club sports all sorted out. You can see Rafke on the pole, Whitworth behind him,
and
then,
Jeff Jacobs getting some good airtime for his sponsor, SCCA Foundation, sitting right in the middle of the field there.
As if the logo across the screen here as we get going won't be enough. His car's livery also is there. So we appreciate FCCA Foundation's support. And Jeff, of course, a big piece of that.
Yeah, indeed. If you want to find out more about the SCCA Foundation, that is the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America, a 501c3 charity that supports charitable and educational programs to further the SCCA's purposes and for the benefit of the motorsports community as a whole. Visit sccafoundation.org.
All right, so the club sports are about to go. No need to go through the grid. We kind of talked about it a lot. But let's see how we saw a lot of patience from Violet in that first race right up until the end. Let's see if he shows the same patience with the teammate Whitworth right in front of him.
Right, so we got Rathke and Whitworth on the front row, then Sharp and Violet, and Barrios side by side with Matt Porter there. And green flag is given to our club sport drivers as they now come down into turn one with Rathke in that Granite State Motorsports machine down to the inside. And for the moment, looks like he holds off Sharp, but Brandon Whitworth now comes down the inside underneath Andrew Sharp and tries to hold off the 24 machine as they go into the S's and towards that outward curve as the street tuner drivers, our Mazda drivers, now get the green flag as well.
Yeah, don't underestimate Rafke's. We'll get back to him in a minute because he had a very good race in that last race, even though he didn't qualify initially. Don't be surprised if it's going to take a while if they ever catch him for the pack behind him. But as we take a look now at our Mazdas, a good start there for Hartley. Again, he had the penalty in the opening race tonight from a start condition that made him go through a drive-through. He's not going to make that same mistake twice. Look at him already on the back of Horan as they come down into four for the first time. Horan's teammate, there you can see Gorman back there now giving up a spot to Schwenke.
Yeah, and it looks like Mike Chase also about ready to make a move there as, Cranston, big impact against the wall there, Larry.
Yeah, that's huge. A lot of damage there to the Craney Customs. That's a very custom job there in the front of that Mazda.
He's gonna need some custom body work there. Yeah, let's
so he's on the inside. He's got Steve Daniel on the outside. Let's see if this is sort of self-induced. He gets into a bit of a wobble. It's a whole lot of wobble. Whole tires will do it.
Yep. Yeah, got up on the curbing, got back all four wheels on the pavement, and the rear end, probably just as he let off the throttle, rear end walked around on him, unfortunately, there as we jump back.
Interesting developments here. Yeah, as Rafke, I was saying he's got strong pace, but we also saw Andrew Sharp very aggressive in that opening round. Wasn't able to get higher than third, but look at this. He's already gotten around Whitworth, who's now into third. And then Porter Violet drops back to fifth. So Sharp now the big mover on this opening lap.
And now we saw a very good pace from Brandon Whitworth towards the end of our first race. We'll see what he can do if he can hold off our winner from race one, Matt Porter here. As looks like we've got another issue here, Larry, and I think this was Steve Daniel from SKKJ Racing.
Yeah. We saw him on the outside of four avoiding the wreck there. For Craney, and this time he's going to catch those bumps on the exit of six. And he ran into, I didn't see which car that was, but he definitely made contact on the inside.
I think, trying to see who that was.
Might have been Peyton in the 64, but either way, Daniel is in the pits under repair along with Jeff Cranston. As that is Porter, a round one winner.
And he gets dumped, Larry, and is up against the wall. And wow. He's now going to fall all the way back to the tail end of our club sport drivers. Let's take a quick look and see what happened.
So he's on the inside. That's Whitworth on the inside.
There.
Yep. And he's okay here, but it's that contact with Whitworth. There
Yeah.
is, and he gets a little bit of help. Whitworth spins him, and he does hit the wall on driver's right, but he had a little bit of help. Whitworth might have just thought he was clear, but he wasn't. Ouch. That's a big one. As we said, he's the one that came in tonight needing the points to try and keep up with these guys, and he's going to get half of the points, but the other half isn't going to be a strong finish as we move back to our Mazdas, and it's Rob Hartley back in front.
Yeah, as Hartley now gets around Mike Chase. Should also mention, Larry, as we were watching our round 1 winner in Club Sport Pro go around, Andrew Sharp has taken the lead there, and has gotten around Tom Rathke. But let's stick with this battle in Street Tuner for the time being, as great fight going on between Robert Hartley and the green and white machine. The 314 of Mike Chase.
Yeah, Chase, of course, won the first round here tonight. He's looking smooth right now. Hartley, that big mistake coming off of turn 11 there down the front straight, didn't cost him position, but nearly wrecked the car. But look how smooth he's looking now. Let's see if Chase can start to put the pressure on Hartley. Hartley's teammate, Schwanke, now just behind, about 3 car lengths back.
And Larry, we've got a big development in in Club Sport. Tom Rathke, our pole sitter in this second race. Now, Andrew Sharp had already gotten around him, but Rathke has gone around, and he is now fallen back to, I think, 13th in the Toyotas. Let's take a look and see what happened as he was running second to Sharp.
There's all sorts of things happening here. Let's keep an eye on this one as Sharp is going around, and this is self-induced for Rathke all by himself, coming around 6th.
And all he can do is wait for the traffic to clear.
Oh, so frustrating. Just waiting for all those cars to get on by, knowing that your race may have just been gone. Oh, so he's got a lot of work to do, but behind him is Brandon Whitworth, who was also having his own issues. Remember, he was involved in the issues out in front with Porter, but Whitworth, I think, just misses Rathke there as he comes through 7. And then has his own self-induced incident.
Yeah, got a lot of curbing. Got a lot of curbing on entrance there. We saw 2 wheels to the inside of the apex curbing, Larry, and I think as the car came back across, the rear end just lightened up and around he went.
Yeah, so nearly back-to-back incidents there for Whitworth and for Porter. Also, keep an eye mind that Whitworth is under review for the incident with the 19 of Porter. Stewards are taking a look at that, so we'll see how they decide to judge. This, of course, is Bobby Childs in the battle with Jeff Jacobs in front of him.
And there it is, Larry. Brandon Whitworth being assigned a drive-through penalty for the contact that he had there with Porter.
I think that's a fair penalty.
Agree.
Yeah, I think he didn't yield enough. He didn't have the full clear when he was behind Porter, and he did cause that. And for Whitworth, that's just going to take what's already turning into a rough night and make it even worse. But this is turning into a pretty good battle here.
Yes.
That's your AM battle right there.
And a nice repass there, Larry, by Dale Maxwell. Klimovich had come right underneath the number 111 machine in the previous quarter, and Maxwell got right back around as the track turned around the other way as they came out of Hobbs, out of Redmond, turn 8, and went into Hobbs.
Yeah, remember I said there's a current 3-way nearly tie in the M. That's Jenkins, Carey, and Carey. Tom Jenkins, Paul Carey, Rodney Carey. Klimovich currently 4th, has that DNS from round 1 that maybe eventually becomes a drop. Dale Maxwell is currently 6th, had a DNS a couple weeks back, so he also needs to catch up on a drop, but his other finishes aren't nearly as strong, but he's looking pretty strong here tonight, leading Klimovich.
And here we've got Leo Dragota challenging for position there with the Bobby Childs, TBC. Here has Bobby currently running 5th in Club Sport Pro, and hasn't given it up yet. There's the white Orion car trying to come down the inside, going down into the hairpin at turn number 5. Not quite close enough, but what he is doing, Larry, Dragota there, certainly making things challenging for our 2 AM drivers, Maxwell and Klimovich.
Maxwell did a really good job of taking that position and putting a car between him and Klimovich. Klimovich now behind Dragota, but that's a great job for Maxwell, being very racy there using that position to his advantage. Oh, he gets wide though at the hairpin. He's going to give the spot right back to Klimovich. Not entirely. Look at this. This is your lead and Am side by side. Klimovich and Maxwell.
And, you know, and Larry, that corner there is, we've been watching these drivers come through turn 7 and 8. The Toyotas, they've been getting very loose on the exit of turn number 8, as we've seen a couple of drivers go around, and it bites Maxwell, but he manages, at least for the time being, to hold off the 21 car. Does Klimovich, though, come down to the inside to go into the first corner? He's going to try it.
I was just speaking the praises of Maxwell. Great a job he did to put Dragotta between them, and then he goes and loses it on the next corner. Commentator Jinx? I don't know. Maybe. Could be. But
maybe it's like it's a drifting it's a drifting competition here in Japan.
You know, it is Japan where they invented drifting, so just perhaps that's what Dale was doing. But look at this, he's able to pull ahead. And let's flash back over to our Mazdas, as it looks like Chase now is challenging Hartley down the front straight into 1.
Yeah, and Chase took a look to the outside, tries to cross up our leader now, Robert Hartley, not able to get that done. But Hartley, you know, he's been leaving the door open for the 314 machine. Larry, he's been dropping wheels left and right and losing a lot of pace. We'll see how things play out here, but at least for the time being, Hartley and Chase have managed to get a little bit of a gap back to Travis Schwenke. Less than a second, they're probably going to be able to draft back up as they make the run, this very long run down to the hairpin at turn number 5.
Chase, I would suspect, is probably a little bit quicker through turns 10 and 11, as these guys are going to catch up to who that is. I think Jeff Cranston right in front of them, who's got that damage on his car from the incident earlier, so they're going to have to get around him. But yeah, Chase doing a great job, I think, off of 10 and 11, which is showing then closing up all the way into 1. The rest of the circuit seems to be Hartley's advantage, so let's see if Chase can use that advantage down into the front straight into turn 1 to try and get the pass done. But here comes now a couple of our Club Sport cars. That's Whitworth now behind the leaders in these Mazdas.
Yeah, let's take a look at this battle for Am, where Klimovich, Larry, now takes the lead away from Dale Maxwell. But Maxwell not having any of it as he's
Slim Club going crazy.
Yes, oh yeah, look at that. The chat has lit up by the Klim Club here, as now I think Klimovich, as they come through the S's, looks as though he might have the pass finally done. There you go.
He does. See if he can hang on to it. I thought perhaps Maxwell had the position locked in just about a lap and a half ago. Here they are now on the back straight. Maxwell is going to be trying to make a move on by. Klimovich taking the full defensive line down that inside. Is he leaving enough daylight down the inside? Maxwell's going to go out.
I'm saying, Larry, this is where we saw in round number 1 that outside line sometimes worked fairly well.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of banking to it. You can make it work if you got the right line, but look how bumpy that is going through turn 6 in that little bit of a crossover road. Those curbs are awful. I hate that part of the track.
Well, yeah,
I'll say it again sometime tonight. I really do. It's my least favorite part of Okayama. The rest of the track's not bad. These hairpins, though, are so technical. It's so difficult. We saw Maxwell struggle earlier. Just one little mistake. This time, Klimovich looking pretty good through 8 into 9. Now they'll kick through the little 90 flick at 10. And then a little bit tighter 11, and down that front straight, we'll see if Maxwell can use any bit of draft as we're coming up on the halfway, just about 2 more minutes to the halfway point of this second race tonight.
Well, all right, let's jump back over to that battle between Andrew Sharp and Eric Violet, battle for the lead in Club Sport. And, well, let's add Mariano Barrios. He's right there as well. But Sharp has now managed to open up a little bit of a gap, Larry, almost a half second back to the D2D sim racer here. I was going to note as we were watching that Am battle, though, it was interesting to see as probably not Klimovich, but as Maxwell was coming through that, as you mentioned, slightly tighter last corner, turn 11 onto the front straight. There was a real weird twitch from the front end of his car, as it looked like he was trying to get the car squared up after turn 10, and it just didn't look very happy coming onto the front straight. And he ended up losing about a half a car length to our leader. But there you go. As I talk about Maxwell losing ground to Klimovich, he's able to pull right up alongside a couple corners later.
Yep, here they are side by side. And I think that behind him, that's Porter, if I got that right.
Yeah.
We know he's got pace as he was our round 1 winner tonight, so he's going to want to get past these guys if he can, but they're fighting so much, they're kind of occupying a lot of track. Good job here. Maxwell holding that position. This could end up being a 3 wide into 1, though, the way these guys are battling here through 10 into 11. Really curious what kind of run Porter can get. Look at little kicks up a little bit of dirt in the gravel trap.
And that has been his line almost every single lap through race 1. It didn't seem to affect his exit speed onto the front straight very much. He hasn't poked to the inside yet. I'm wondering, Larry, if he's just going to be kind of knowing how far he has. Well, his teammate Dragoda is now about 4 seconds up the road. I'm wondering if he's just going to sit back there and play the camera car rather than get in the middle of the Sam fight.
That's the thing, yeah, he knows if he gets in them, that's a battle of the yams, but he would love to pick up these 2 spots because points are points. You know, at the end of the day, he's down from the rest of the competitors there in the Club Sport Pro ranks. He needs points. Now you look at him, I think he does want to push past. He's going past Klimovich now. Klimovich being nice, letting him through, knowing the pace of Porter. Maybe he's going to try and use Porter to help get by Maxwell. Maybe a little bit of a toe coming off of some of the other straightaways.
You know, he seems kind of content to stay inside and stay with Maxwell, and I think they just both kind of made the decision to let Porter through.
Perhaps. So let's see now if Maxwell can use a little bit of Porter's draft to withstand any kind of pressure from Klimovich, but we'll take a look at some of the other battles we've got going on. Like the front, it's Sharp Violet and Barrios. And Barrios, I'll tell you, if he hadn't had that terrible qualifying, might have been in both of these rounds for the win. Instead, he had to settle for just getting into like 6th or 7th or whatever it was in the first race, 6th, I believe it was. And here he is now in the front 3, right behind Eric Violet and Andrew Sharp.
Yeah, and both he and Violet have tightened things up a little bit with Andrew Sharp as the gap now down to about 4 tenths. So it was a little over 5 tenths, I think, the last time we checked in with them. See as they come through the Senna S. Probably not the Senna S. Wrong racetrack. Wrong 2 racetracks. Not not Interlagos or oh my gosh. Let's try that again. It's the Moss S. It's another track that pays homage to Sterling Moss.
And well-deserved, of course. Moss, one of the greats, as is Senna. Plain Joe in the chat, of course, part of the Klim Club, claiming, I think, that it's, I think he's calling it Max Klimovich out there.
As long as Daddy Klimovich isn't a stand-in for Jasper Verstappen, I think we're okay.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
So yeah, look at Klimovich here. Now back in front, using all of the track limits around that turn 6 and 7 90-degree corners, but now in front in the AM lead, just ahead of Maxwell, as these two have swapped positions again. It's a great battle between these guys. And again, for Klimovich, he needs some good, strong points again, because he's trying to hold off the points leader in the class, who I believe is Jenkins, currently 3rd, but he's about 3 seconds back. And then you've got the 2 carries, Rodney Carey and Paul Carey. They're sitting 2nd and 3rd in the points, so Klimovich needs to stay ahead of them, and he'd love to stay ahead of Maxwell and get max points tonight. All the maxes.
So many maxes. All right, let's move back over to Street Tutor, Larry. And it is here sitting right up at the front. It is Hartley, your leader. Mike Chase still running in 2nd, and he is bookended by those 2 Orion cars. We got Travis Schwenke 3rd, and we noted that the car sitting right back behind them. This has been after he served that drive-through penalty. Brendan Whitworth, he has been sitting behind these 3 cars now for I think about 4 laps, 5 laps, and as I don't actually know if we talked about it on the broadcast, but at least coming out of practice this week, the one thing that the drivers noted was that the Toyotas didn't do such a great job hanging in the draft of the Mazdas, whereas apparently the Toyotas open up a pretty damn big hole for the Mazdas. That wing in the rear creates a pretty big wash for the Mazdas to drive on. All right, making a move now, coming down the inside. Here's Mike Chase as they make the chase down to the hairpin over at turn 5. Remember, after this right-hander, we've got the 2 left-hand 90-degree turns. And Chase, good move, and he comes right across the nose of Hartley, blocks off any attempts to retake the position going through turn 6 or turn 7.
Yep, and I think we're going to start seeing some of that, and a great spectator view there for Whitworth. Gets to watch this front 3. I'll be curious to see if Schwenke decides to make a move here. Hartley, we've seen him before play this cat and mouse game in these cars, and he knows that the race ain't over until you're on the last corner in one of these Mazdas. There's always opportunities to pass, so he's going to be patient, but it's Schwenke to see, is he going to try to make a move while Hartley's trying to be patient? Great view from Schwenke's position there. These cars, they draft so well. Not enough for Hartley to get past Chase yet.
And so many of these corners, and this was one of the things that, since we did not play the track guide from Kevin Ford tonight, we'll play Kevin's track guide twice next time. But so many of the corners here at this course, where in the MX-5s are either first gear or second gear corners, that there are so many digs out of these 90-degree turns and out of these hairpins. And here we go, as Hartley now taking a quick look back to the outside as they come down into the hairpin.
See, watch the other make that stick again. It's like a little bowl. You can see some bank in there. That's the thing about Okayama. It's deceptively elevation here. As you come from that turn that leads the hairpin sweep that leads you onto the back straight, it's climbing a hill. All the way down the back straight, it comes down a hill. And then you, of course, got the banking at 5 at the hairpin at the end of it. It kind of drops elevation through 6 and 7. So it's deceptive that there is elevation change here. You don't really notice it, but it's there, and it makes a difference in cars like these because it changes whether they start going loose, especially some of the downhill corners.
All right, Larry, just coming in from race control, remember we talked about this during race number 1 about the thought of whether or not the 24 car, Andrew Sharp, was, how do I put this? Blocking. and actually race control mentioned the 24 car in specifically and said that its last warning that it should not be weaving on the front straight.
Yeah, well, what I was seeing right now is Sharp under all kinds of pressure from Eric Violet. Violet was so patient in that first race, maybe too patient, cost him a chance to win the thing by waiting to the end. He's not waiting now. He was up alongside Sharp at the end of the back straight, didn't make the pass. Now he's going to settle back in as we approach the 22nd minute of this 30-minute sprint. Let's see if Violet can get back up there and make more pressure.
Yeah, and maybe the fact that now Violet knows that Sharp is going to have to drastically change his strategy coming out of the last corner onto the front straight. He may attack a little bit differently going down into turn number 1 if he can get the car close enough. Again, we haven't seen the real strong draft in these cars that we've seen in the Mazdas. He has been about a half a car length behind. He's just going to have to get very deep on the brakes probably. And you can see here he's almost 2 car lengths back as they turn in for the first corner.
Yeah, that move that he tried, he had to back out so much, it cost him a lot. Now he's got to work his way back up there. That's the way this track is. He's hoping to get another shot on the back straight, but as we approach 23 minutes, you start to think, has he got maybe 5 more chances down this back straight? So we'll keep our eye on this battle as we get closer. Klimovich, though, in the other battle that's going on in Club Sports, continues to swap positions with Maxwell.
And Maxwell was almost able to sneak back underneath Klimovich there as they came into the 2 right-hand turns here. Not able to get it done quickly enough, however, as they go through the Moss S and into Atwood. And here at Atwood at turn 4, Larry, I mean, there's a pretty huge rise out of this corner, and the camera view that we have, you can't really see it. You can see the drop down afterwards, like right here, but it's such a steep rise going out of there.
Yeah, and it's deceptive. You don't realize what it is. There's grip out there, and the car is almost pushed. You have to kind of unwind the wheel a little bit. But take a look at this. Maxwell now on the outside, trying to go round, and he's got it almost, but he's got to stay there and have the inside at 7 and 6. Is there contact? Not yet. No. Look at Rafke go behind him. Rafke again out of the pro category. He wants to get by both these guys, like we saw Porter do. Oh, now we're gonna go 3 wide down to 8. Oh, this can never work out well.
Oh, it might.
And it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Oh no! And the Clip Club's gonna go crazy. There's Bobby Childs also spinning just ahead of him.
Oh my!
We have 2 spins. And that's the 68, I think, of Jenkins. Of course, Jenkins and Klimovich are in a points battle, basically. And now we go 3 wide in the Mazdas. Chaos is let loose all over the track. There's Chase now on the inside of Hartley.
And I'm hearing the radio communications, Larry and Klimovich is, I don't know what just happened.
3 wide happened there. That's what happened there.
All right, let's take a look here as we see this. Oh wow, it's side by side with Schwenke and that's all right. We'll get back to that in a second. Yeah,
we're gonna queue up all the replays. Look at Rafke down the inside. Maxwell's got nowhere to go, and I think he spins Klimovich. I think, and because he had someone on both sides.
Yeah, and we saw there Klimovich went very, very deep, which I think he needed to, given that they were 3 wide there. But it just looked as though he just.
It's one of those, a good racing friend of ours said, if you find yourself in those positions, if everyone drives perfectly, it'll work out just fine. The problem is no one drives perfectly. In that case, Maxwell had a little bit of a bobble in the middle of the threesome. He clipped Klimovich on the outside, and that cost his spin. No idea what happened to Bobby in his spin, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. As this battle now is also, as Chase now shuffles back to second behind Hartley.
Yeah, so Hartley, and when we went to the replay, we saw Schwenke challenging our second place person. Let's take a look. We'll see what happened to Bobby.
Oh, he catches that curb on the inside. I think he's got a little bit of tire spin. Ooh, just missed Porter. But Bobby getting out of the way.
There's the incident right behind. Yeah, exactly.
Good view. And talk about chaos.
Yeah, and Bobby got caught out by the same corner that we've had so many other people.
It's that you start touching. You touch that curb on the inside. These cars are so tippy the way they move weight around, and you don't need any extra help. But if you cut the inside curb, but look at this battle now, as Sharp under all the pressure from Violet as they head down to turn 4. Again, less than 5 minutes to go now. We're under 4 minutes, in fact, for these guys. Maybe two laps plus the one they're on. And look at Violet now with Barrios trying to make a run. We might have a 3 wide in this group here going into the hairpin at the end of the straightaway. Stubby in the chat. Bobby doing Bobby things. I didn't say it. I'm just reading it.
Thank you, Stubby.
Just reading it, Bobby. It's Stubby saying it. Sorry, Bobby. Great battle here, though. These guys, such respectful racing between Sharp, Violet, Barrios. Few out the back of Sharp, coming off a 7. Close they are able to hold that distance into braking. I can't do that.
Of course you can't.
It's so hard to judge the braking point of the car in front of you to the perfect moment. That was pretty cool to watch. All right, so under 3 minutes. I don't know if they're going to get 2 laps or 3 laps. They may only get these 2. This should be 2 laps to go. Be really close to a third, but I think it's going to be 2.
Yeah, I think we're going to be a couple seconds beyond getting that 3rd lap in. But this is almost the largest advantage that Sharp has had now in a couple of laps, a little bit over a half second, Larry.
Once again, Sharp able to just breathe for a moment. That's 0.6 advantage, but I suspect they'll be down to about 0.2 by the end of this back straight. Violet's pretty strong on that turn 4.
All right, as we jump back over now to Street Tuner, and there's Robert Hartley with the weave.
A little bit.
We'll see if he gets admonished by race control.
He's not blocking. He's
Nope.
just breaking
Well,
draft.
I'd argue that Andrew Sharp wasn't blocking either, Larry. So we'll see. But again, we're not the ones making the decisions. We're just commenting about it.
We are not in the stewards room tonight, as we shouldn't be.
That's right.
I always talk about having that driver person in the room so they get the driver's perspective. They never ask for the commentator's perspective.
No.
Why is that? I know the answer. Don't answer.
We all know the answer.
All right, so flashing back up to the front of our club sports, Sharp, Violet, and Barrios catching up to the back of Cranston, who's going to probably step out of the way here, and he does.
And there he does.
Thanks, Jeff. Always the courteous driver.
All right, there
so
you go.
final
White
lap.
flag is in the air now, Larry. We can see it. We can see Barney waving it right underneath the Autobox banner there.
All right, so does Violet have anything in him? Does Sharp have anything left to be able to defend? Notice this time how much closer Violet is to the back of Sharp. Yeah,
he pulled right up and actually gapped Barrios a little bit. And I thought that Barrios might be the one leading the conversation here, and would make a lunge for second and maybe clear things out for Andrew Sharp. But
look at that run.
Here we go. Violet almost was able to get him around the outside there.
Yeah.
He's going to stick right on the nose. He's right on the tail there. He's going to be just wow. As they
Barrios.
come out. Oh no. Here we
go. It's the triple header. Let's see how this works out. Again, everybody drives perfect. This is fine. Violet backs out.
Yeah, and as Violet backed out, he was the latest one on the brakes.
Yeah.
He was just so deep in there, Larry. I think unless he had to. Oh,
good run here though. Maybe, just maybe, he sticks this around 8 and holds it through 9. This is actually a great strategy if he can execute. He's still there, barely. Oh, shut the door though for Sharp.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sharp continued to drift over and leave Violet with nowhere to go. Here's we've got now just the two corners remaining.
That was such good racing. Violet, I think, doing calculations here of opportunities, and that's a slide for Sharp. We're gonna go side by side.
And as they come down the front straight, Larry, first driver to get to the line, it's Eric Violet taking the win. Andrew Sharp had that bobble in the very last corner, turn 11. He's going to finish second. Mario Barrios is going to finish in third. And I believe Leo Dragotta, we should see him coming across the line in just a few moments in fourth. Let's jump back over to that battle in Street Tuner, where Hartley now under attack by Mike Chase, and Schwenke not able to really work Chase off of his game. But wow, look at that. Hartley gets a little loose now with 2 corners remaining.
He does, and let's see if he's able to get to the final corner better than Sharp did a moment ago. If he can, he'll have himself victory here tonight. A little bit of redemption, but he catches gravel on the outside. Doesn't look like it's slowed him down too much. Can Chase get there? I don't think he can. I think that's your order right there.
Yeah, and Chase, he's not even going to pop out. He's going to finish second to Robert Hartley in Street Tuner Pro. Travis Schwenke will finish in third. Now, let's take a look, Larry. I think in AM, our 2 AM categories, let's see, Maxwell did manage to hold off Jenkins with Klimovich sitting back after that spin, after the contact between he and Maxwell, finishing in third with the 2 carries, finishing 4th and 5th. And in Street Tuner AM, only 2 drivers left running at the end, taking the win, Victor Harris, and finishing second, Robert Brist.
Yeah, the stewards did look at the Klimovich incident with Maxwell, decided that was a racing incident. I think it's a fair assessment. Heartbreaking for Sharp tonight, but Violet able to get that win. I can't wait to talk to these guys.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break then, Larry, and we'll thank some of our partners and sponsors. And when we come back, we'll talk to some of those podium finishers here at Okayama, where you've just seen round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Proforma Elite. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Oh, there's Chase. And welcome back, everybody, to the Okayama circuit here at Okayama, where you've just seen round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Touring Car Cup. It's season number 24. And Larry, I think we've got at least one or two folks sitting in the green room waiting to talk to us. We've got Dale Maxwell, who just took the win in Street Tuner AM, and I think we've got Michael Chase as well. So let's do this. Why don't we bring in first, because I'm sure he's on a bit of a high right now. Let's bring in Dale Maxwell, driver of the number, what the heck, what number is he? Oh yeah, he's driving the number 111 Toyota. Dale Maxwell.
All right, Dale, great racing tonight. You got the win in the first round in that battle you just had there with David Klimovich for most of that second race. That was fantastic stuff. Rough ending to the battle, but you still got the victory. Tell me a little bit about what you're feeling right now.
My hands are shaking.
I can imagine. That was amazing stuff. You and Klimovich must have swapped positions like 10 times in about 5 laps.
Oh man, it was back and forth. I was just doing all I could to not spin in front of him or just not get in his way. He had some pretty good runs on me, so I just let him go by.
Yeah, in those battles, I think it was Porter came up along. He had his issues earlier. He's fast. You guys kind of let him by. Rafke comes up, and he's trying to do the same thing, trying to get on by, and suddenly it was 3 wide going into turn 8. And I have a hard time thinking that ever comes out in a good result.
Yeah, I just backed off. I did everything I could to stay out of their way, and next thing I know, I just saw him come across my front. I was just kind of like, oh crap.
Yeah.
That's all I could do.
Yeah, so that was a tough way for that great battling to end. But for you, great opportunity on points tonight. You came in, the highest finish I think was, a couple of 4th place finishes, and here you are getting wins in both rounds. You got to feel pretty psyched up about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric Violet worked with me for a little bit last night, actually a lot, a couple hours at least. And just they ended up basically finally getting the feel of the car, and what he said worked.
The guy kind of knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, that is awesome. I'd love to hear. Those are great stories about this whole league and the camaraderie. It's competition, but everybody's trying to help each other out. Isn't that the whole fun of this whole series?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been watching a lot of the other drivers through a few seasons that I haven't participating in. Just trying to learn from them, but getting the one-on-one with Eric was just, he showed me a lot what not to do, mostly what not to do, and just applied it tonight, and turns out it worked pretty good.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Well, you get victory in both rounds, so you get the max points here tonight. But I'm sure, in addition to Eric, you probably got some other folks you want to thank for success tonight.
Absolutely, definitely want to thank God. I want to thank my wife for putting up with me for the hours and hours and hours of practice. Everybody watching tonight been really supportive of me doing this.
Yeah, well, awesome job, Dale Maxwell, getting the wins in both of the 2 rounds, these 30-minute sprints here tonight for Black Flag eMotorsports. Congrats, Dale, on those wins.
Thank you, appreciate you.
All right, let's move over now to Michael Chase from Chase Motorsport, driver of the number 311. That is a Toyota, right? I always forget. No, I'm sorry.
No, he's in the Mazda.
No, he's in one of the Mazdas, one of our street tuner cars. All right, let's talk to Michael Chase now.
All right, Michael Chase had a really fun-looking race in the second race, but a dominant one in that first race. So you end up with a win, you end up with a second for the 2 tonight. Great results for you. How are you feeling about your performance tonight?
Yeah, thanks. I was bummed to see Robert have to take the penalty on the first race, but kind of inherited P1, able to make that stick, so that was fun. The second race was that was another thing altogether. It was a lot of great drive-in by everybody around on the track, and very enjoyable.
Yeah, tons of battles. It looked like for a while there, Robert was sort of being patient behind it, and then suddenly it just turned into these constant swapping battles, a couple of side-by-sides. Schwenke probably could have stuck his nose in there, but kind of just let the two of you do your thing. And Robert's obviously one of the best in these Mazdas, so it's got to be great mixing it up with someone like that.
Yeah, like I said, that was a lot of fun, and great couple of guys to race with. And yeah, I was quite worried about kind of losing a position if I fought too hard, so wasn't sure quite how to work that out, but at least I didn't lose it, I guess.
Yeah, no, you did fantastic work tonight. And, in that first round, sure, Hartley may have had the issues, but you had to still go out there and drive. You still had to shake the rest of the pack, which you did pretty well. But in the second race, you showed you're right there on pace. Looks like you enjoyed this track pretty well, and it's going to turn into a pretty good, fun season here with results like this if they continue. So awesome job there, but I'm sure some folks from the Chase Motorsports and others maybe you want to give a thanks to for helping you get the success tonight.
Yeah, as always, thanks to my wife for letting me do this little hobby and supporting me doing it. And thanks to the league for putting on this great format. I'm really enjoying it so far, being a newcomer. And you guys do a great job with the broadcast. I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, well, I love seeing this, and success like this is always fun to watch. Great racing is the best. So congrats, Mike Chase, Chase Motorsports getting the win and following up with the second place here in the Mazda ST Pro class. Congrats.
Good night.
All right, let's move over, Larry, to I think the final driver we've got sitting in the green room right now. Also from Street Tuner Pro, driving the number 89 Toyota GR86 and taking the win in race number 2, Eric Violet.
He's Club Sport Pro, but we won't hold that against you, Greg.
Oh, yeah. Did I say Street Tuner?
You did. That's all right.
I got demoted.
One of these days, they're going to fire me.
At least he said you were still in Pro, Eric. He didn't put you into the AM category, but
yeah. That's next week.
Yeah, but I tell you what, Eric, 2 fantastic looking races tonight that you were right in the middle of, and both of them. You got the win in the second one, but let me just kind of flash back to the first one where I think it was you and Matt and Andrew, just all three you having just like a chess match battle out there that it just looked amazing. And, you're able to, I think you came in second in that one. Beautiful race. Second race, though, turned into this thing at the end where it's yourself, Andrew, Mariano, coming off that last corner. You got to be thinking, I'm just going to hold second. And then Andrew looks like he had a little bit of a bobble.
Yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it. I mean, my whole goal with the heat races was I wanted to finish in front of Andrew at least one of the races, and then I was perfectly fine just championship points, just cruising behind him. A second would have been just fine in that second race. But with Mariano right there, I think I think Andrew tried holding us up a little bit, not like a brake check or anything, but just kind of slowing us up into that last turn, so he, we couldn't get a good launch. And I just kind of found myself on the left side of him. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep my foot in it. If I go in the grass, whatever. He gave me some room, and it just worked out. So it actually wasn't planned, but Mariano was bringing the heat. So, and I gotta thank Mariano. I'll try to make this quick for you guys. I know it's late, but I gotta thank Mariano for racing me clean. He helped me. When I made a couple bobbles and Andrew started getting away there, we didn't have any issues this round. I think this is like the first out of a couple of races, and we joked last time that he owed me a beer for all the shenanigans we ever came out this way. I think after this round, I owe him at least one, maybe two. So, and then thanks for Matt and Andrew for tough but really clean racing. It was unfortunate Matt got caught up in something in the second race. I don't know. I'll go back and watch it, but. I did not have the car for the speed. I went for stability and predictability, so I knew I was going to be a draft sucker, and it just worked out. So
yeah, it was unfortunate to see what happened to Matt there. You go back and watch the replay, and you can ask Brandon what happened. He'll know. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, but I will say, you talk about Mariano Barrios. Great drive tonight. Terrible qualifying, whatever happened to him, but gets himself up into that mix, and he looked as strong as the rest of you guys there at the end. And as we know, he's fast all the time. Yeah,
we could have had a 4 or 5-way battle there, and even with Rathje there, I think we probably could have had a 6-car run, but there was a lot of chaos there in the beginning, and luckily I checked up and stayed out of it, and Mariano stayed off me and didn't hit me, because it's hard to see when things were happening 2 or 3 cars in front of us. I was surprised that the guys behind me didn't just plow into me, because it was a bad spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and it's just the way these races are sometimes, and everybody's really into it. The lots of speed there, but the consistent ones are the ones that tend to be getting the highest finishes. That's where yourself and Andrew and tonight's Mariano behind us. So great result for you, as you said. You did maybe even exceeded your goals for points tonight, and that's going to be strong on the overall of the season. But I'm sure you got a few other folks you want to thank for the success tonight.
I'm going to start off by thanking you guys. I cannot wait to watch this broadcast. You guys always do a fantastic job, and this one is going to be nuts. So thank you guys so much. And then
Larry, I don't know if he's gonna say that we didn't talk about Bobby all night long, so we didn't give any material for him. I saw where Bobby finished. I don't know, but I'll have to see what happened there. Sorry, but didn't mean to break your train of thought.
No, you're good. But Pro Forma Elite for Chris Thorman, really helps us out, sponsors us, so it's really nice to be able to do this for free. Extreme Motorsports for this league, it's awesome. Ricmotech for being the primary sponsor, and of course my teammates. It didn't really come into effect this time, but it's we've had really good runs here this season, so I just got to thank in both classes. Dave, Chris, Brandon, and Brennan. Gosh, I always get those all messed up. Anyway, thanks for everyone who watches the broadcast. I do go back and look at the chats afterwards. It's kind of funny to see what you guys say out there. My family, especially my wife, for not only letting me do this, but for everything she does, especially the last couple days, taking care of me. I've been feeling the greatest. And then hopefully all my 6 fans are getting a kick out of this season, because it's been a blast. And thanks for all the drivers in both classes. It's really good. Looks like a lot of respectable racing all the way around. I don't know how this one was. This seemed a little chaotic, but every race up to this point has been really, really clean across both the classes. So thank you guys so much for doing this.
Yeah, it was a great racing, and we're going to thank you too, because Dale Maxwell had a lot of nice things to say about you for the help that you gave to him this week, and that seems to be pretty normal and standard things around this league, and you're a big part of that, helping folks along, so we appreciate that.
Did he pull it off? I didn't see where
he did. Yeah, he got wins in both round 1 and 2 in the AM category.
Nice. Yeah, I spent some time with him yesterday, and hopefully it helped. It sounds like it did. So
he talked about it, and so we appreciate the help that you give everybody else this league, and it's not always recognized, but we know what's going on. So thanks, and congrats to you. Another great night for you. It's just so much fun to watch. So you're gonna enjoy watching this one back.
Thanks, Larry and Greg.
All right, there you go. That was Eric Violet, and maybe Eric should hit up Matt Porter, get some good Canadian beer for that little party that he and Mariano are gonna have.
Yeah.
All right, Larry, let's go and wrap things up for tonight. We'll do that by taking a look at what we've got coming up on the schedule in the next couple of weeks. Next week, the Ricmotech World Challenge returns to WGI to Watkins Glen International, but things are going to be a little bit different next week. We're going to have two 35-minute sprint races for our GTP and GT3 racers. No pit stops, nothing but speed at one of the fastest tracks in North America. And then in 2 weeks, the Touring Car Cup also returns to the United States. Respect the bumps. We're going to be heading to Sebring for another 60-minute race for our MX-5 and GR86 Cup cars. And of course, stick around with us come April 29th. The Ricmotech Sports Car Series, that's for the LMP3 and GT4 drivers, returns. We're going to have round number 1, a 60-minute race at Imola. All right, so for Jonathan Grabowski, I want to thank him for everything, all the technical issues that we had tonight to get us all through this evening. Thank you so much to John Grabowski. You pushing all the buttons as always. Larry Lefty McLeod, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you next Monday night.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.